I am the Chief Marketing Officer at INCYCLE Marketing. We are a digital marketing agency based here in Dubai Media City. And today I'm going to be talking about Facebook advertising and an advanced Facebook advertising masterclass. The Facebook advertising platform is somewhat a blessing and a curse for digital marketers, and is a very, very highly requested service from agencies that I'm sure many agency workers will recognize. Most of the time it is done incredibly poorly. And the reason for that is because people do not do their research and they do not understand the platform correctly. Today, we are going to be talking about a deep dive into getting your Facebook advertising right. So we're going to be covering some advertising stats, some challenges. The most common challenges that are faced are tools, audiences, advert setup, metrics, and scaling. Just to put this in context, I've only got an hour, but the extensive advertising training that I've done specifically for the Facebook advertising platform is upwards of 90 to 100 hours. I simply cannot give you the full in-depth requirements that you would need for your own business. I can give you the route map to successfully navigate it yourself, and after that you will have to take this information away, test it and apply it. You will have to leverage your data, you will have to be intelligent with the information coming back. If you are working with an agency, you will have to show them patience, you will have to give them the correct budget for them to work with and not expect miracles in a time frame that is just not feasible. The Facebook data system, there is lots of conflicting information in regards to how many data points they actually use against you. It can be, we've heard numbers as low as 98 separate data points of which Facebook uses to target you, up to 52,000 data points. So it gives you an indication of just how large the system is, how complex it is, and what kind of data is not only available to the platform, but is being collected on you and used in order to advertise to you. So just some very, very brief stats on here. Facebook has incredible advertising reach. There are over 2 billion people can be reached using Facebook advertising alone. Again, as I said this before, if you believe that your business does not have leads on Facebook, you are wrong. They absolutely are there. You are just not targeting them correctly. You are not delivering the right message to them. Facebook advertising does make you money. 52% of consumers were influenced by Facebook when making both online and offline purchases, and this number is rising every day. If you do not think you can sell your products or your services on Facebook, you are wrong. You are just not doing the advertising correctly. It's an emerging B2B platform. 73% of people say they use Facebook for professional services. If you are a B2B business and you believe that your audience is not on Facebook, you are wrong. You are just not targeting them correctly. And lastly, it's hyper-targeted. Facebook's hyper-targeted custom audiences feature lets you advertise so specifically that advertisers have seen their new customer acquisitions cost decline by 73%. Who here would like to learn how to make their customer acquisition cost decline by 73%? Okay, only 2 people. Excellent. You can stay, everyone else, as you go. 3 people. Fantastic. So it's just to give you an indication of how powerful this tool is, and often how poorly our use of the system actually is. A lot of the challenges we often face are no conversions. Who here has used Facebook and not conversion on their advertising? Only 1 person? So everybody else here has been able to successfully get conversions from their advertising? Okay. Well, one other person, 2 people. Excellent. Fantastic. I'm really glad. The wrong audience. One of the things that I get quite a lot from clients is, we used an agency before, they ran adverts for us. We were getting people from different countries. They weren't our target audience. Well, naturally, because they were doing it wrong. They weren't paying the right attention to who your buyer personas are. Ad relevance. Ad relevance is very much like your quality score and ad rank in Google search and display. If you don't get this right, then you're showing your adverts to the wrong people. Your message is wrong, and you're not delivering something that works for your audience. And lastly, the budget drained. Again, the budget, an ever-present question. How much should you be spending on here? I've worked with clients that have a budget of $50,000 a month. I've worked with clients that have got a budget of $100 a month. Their objectives vary wildly. But what we often see as well is people drain their budgets super quick. Either because they're not spending enough or they're not targeting correctly, and that means that their budgets are just being absolutely rinsed through Facebook trying to reach what you're telling it to as part of the audience. What you have to remember is that the Facebook advertising platform is an algorithm, right? It's machine learning, it's artificial intelligence. It will only work on the parameters that you tell it to work on. If you set those parameters wrong initially, then it's obviously going to give you what you would believe to be poor results. So there aren't really that many core tools. Actually, that's a lie. There are hundreds of core tools when it comes to Facebook advertising. I'm only going to talk about the ones that you really need to know. As we've said, there are so many different options that this platform can be incredibly confusing. So we don't want you focusing on the things that aren't important. The four major things, in my opinion, where I've seen the most success are the pixel, custom audiences, lookalike audiences, and events. Now, I don't mean events as in the birthday event that you invite all of your friends and family to. I mean the events that take place on your website. So, first and foremost, we're going to look at the pixel. Okay, there is some stuff you can read there in your own time. I won't rattle that off. The pixel is a very small piece of code, a very small piece of JavaScript that you can install on your website, and you should be installing on your website in order to track the movement and events, actions that people take on your website. If you don't have this in here, then you aren't able to fully harness the power and capability of Facebook advertising. Facebook has made it incredibly simple, incredibly easy to not only install, but activate the advanced features of as well. Do we have any Shopify website users here today? Show of hands. Nobody here uses Shopify? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. WordPress? Okay, getting larger. Drupal? Yep, Magento? Yep, custom PHP? Okay, 1 or 2. Okay, custom PHP, that's the hardest one to sort of integrate with this. Having said that, if you're a developer, then it's not. Facebook has teamed up with most of the website CMS suppliers, website build tools, and you are very simply and easily able to go in and install this through native integrations. So it's very, very simple for you to just go in, select which tool you're using, and follow the steps, and it will integrate for you. The beautiful thing about that is that you don't have to worry about where the code goes. It just does it for you. In some cases, such as Shopify, you simply just have to put your advertising ID into the system, and it will integrate and pull that data out for you. So it's very, very easy, very, very simple to do. However, many, many businesses get this wrong. Many businesses don't install this at all and then wonder why they're spending a fortune on generating traffic to their website. And we'll explain how we can utilize these bits and pieces a little bit later on. Our custom audiences. Our custom audiences vary greatly from our saved audiences, and we'll talk about saved audiences in a little bit. But your custom audiences are for things that you want Facebook to go out and look at. So for example, if you have a landing page and a thank you page, and when somebody converts onto your thank you page, you want to tell Facebook that all of those people that have converted on that page are one separate audience, and you might call that custom conversion audience 1, for example. Now, the reason why you'll want to do that is because you're building better data points. Okay, we spoke a little bit about data points earlier on. When you have better data, you're able to get Facebook to use your data a lot more intelligently. Okay, so we've got some examples there. As you can see, people who viewed at least 10 seconds of your video, people who have watched 25% of your video, 50% of your video, 75% of your video, and 95% of your video. Just by a show of hands, who do you think is a more qualified lead for your business? The person who has watched 3 seconds of your video, or the person who has watched 95% of your video? So hands up for 3 seconds of your video. Good. One person, okay. And those who think that 95% watched of your video would be a better lead. Excellent. So as you can see already, just from having a pixel installed on your website, somebody who's looking at the data from the adverts that you're running, already you're able to make smarter choices. Correct setup is going to help you way more than just going out there and blindly running advertising. So someone, for example, who has watched 95% of your product advert or your sales pitch, they're really interested, right? So you're more likely to convert that sort of people. So if you create that as a custom audience and run a conversion advert to these people, you're much more likely to get them to convert, and it's going to cost you far less money because you're not having to think about who these people are and what they want to see, all right? Facebook is doing the work for us. It's all about working smarter, not harder. Now, conversion audiences are great, okay, because they give us absolute data. We know that this person has converted. We also want to be utilizing lookalike audiences because when we have a custom audience and we tell Facebook to go out and find people who look like the audience, who have taken the action that has made us money, then we are more likely to find more of those people. Facebook has huge data collections. I think it's something like 3 petabytes a second of data. All right, so not a megabyte, not a gigabyte, but a petabyte. Okay, that's 1,000 times more than a gigabyte. So, 1,000 gigabytes of data every 1 to 3 seconds is going through the Facebook servers, right? There is huge volumes of data information, and you are telling Facebook to very, very precisely find people who have taken the action that you wanted them to take. So you've got different options here. You've got the 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, all the way up to 10%. Now, 0 to 1% is the most similar to your custom audience. 10% is the least similar. Now, you might think that 10% away from this person is not all that much, but actually, in the grand scheme of the volume of data that we actually are collecting through Facebook, it varies quite widely. So you're always going to want to keep it to 0 to 2% at the maximum. But you can create separate audiences. You'll find all of this data in the pixels section, sorry, not the pixels section, in the custom audiences section, or audiences section of your business manager. So the objective here is to get Facebook to do the legwork for us, okay? We never want to do all the hard work because we want to work smarter, we want to work harder. If we're spending all this money with Facebook advertising, we expect to get something back from it, okay? And that means getting the platform to do the work that we want it to do. So you really do need to be looking at your lookalike audiences, and they're so easy to set up. And again, the most important thing is clean data, clean data, clean data. Okay? If you're getting lookalike audiences of people who have seen this page and this page, then that's not really all that relevant for you. But if you're getting data coming back of people who have literally given you money, who have converted as a lead, you're much more likely to be able to go out and find these things. So, our events as well. And I just want you to remember that this is just an overview of the tools, okay? There's nothing particularly in-depth or insightful here about these particular sections. Our events, again, you do want to be collecting all of your your events there as well. And Facebook will set up some standard events for you there. So your page view, general event. Again, what is a general event, right? You need to be telling Facebook what the data is that you really want. Initiate checkout, form, and view content. Okay, so it collects all of these different bits and pieces. You can see you've got your custom conversions and you've got your partner integrations and things like that as well. If you're looking at the data that you've got here, a percentage of those 690 events received are going to be initiate checkout. Okay, you want to be going after these people. Right? Why would you waste your money and time going after people who have undertaken a page view or general event, whatever general event may be? Okay, this is where you start to shift your budget, where you start to be reactive to the information that's coming out and make sensible decisions about where to spend your marketing budget. That 690 people could be, for example, 100 people. Okay, so if I want to create a lookalike audience, then I tell Facebook, go out and find me more people that have initiated the checkout, because those are the people that are likely to spend money. If I've got a budget of, let's say, $1,000, I want to make sure that I'm spending 900 of those dollars on going out and finding people who are going to be spending money with me, right? That's how we start to get our positive ROI. So our saved audiences. When I'm putting Facebook advertising campaigns together for my clients, this is by far and away the most amount of time that I will spend on my campaign. If you plan this correctly, the campaigns that you'll run will be able to tell you how successful your audiences are. This is some information that I guarantee 99.9% of advertisers who use Facebook do not do. The reason why I've been so successful with my advertising campaigns across Facebook and Instagram is because I spend between 3 to 6 hours on building my saved audiences. I will develop my research. I will create as many as I can, usually about 11 separate audiences that I will use through campaign budget optimization tests. Okay? Before we even start looking at messaging, before we even start looking at images, calls to actions, all of these sorts of things, I need to know that the adverts that I'm running are correct. Who here has recently seen an advert in their Facebook or Instagram feed that you just thought, why am I being shown this? Yeah, I have. I imagine that most of the room here have as well. I constantly, unless there is something that my wife is not telling me, get adverts for baby products and things like that. So whoever's doing the advertising for these companies is getting it drastically wrong. Okay? And this is where budget gets wasted, right? And this is where people start to complain, because what happens when your budget is wasted is you get ad fatigue. Ad fatigue is where you see the advert, and people then either complain, report. It pushes up your CPC, it lowers your click-through conversions, it lowers your conversion rate, and it makes you spend more money, ultimately. So by getting your audience right in the first place, you stand a way better chance of being able to see successful campaigns. Now, here's some examples of adverts that are not great. Who here has run Facebook adverts before? Okay, so you see that little that audience definition specific to broad? Do you find that when you put your audiences together, they generally tend to be like massive numbers, 2, 3, 4 million people, that sort of thing? Yes? No? Okay, fine. One of the reasons is that your audience is way too broad. The sweet spot for your advertising audiences is between 400,000 to 750,000 people. Okay? Now, put that in the context of a city like Dubai. There's almost 5 million people here? Okay? You don't want to target all of Dubai. All of Dubai is not your target audience. But, and we're going to go through, and I'll show you how to create all of these audiences. When you find that you have this laser targeting, and we're going to go through in detail how to do this, your audiences will be a lot smaller. And you want them to be smaller because they're more relevant. When something is relevant, it becomes more personal. When something is more personal, it speaks to that person a lot more. And that enables you to be able to deliver a better message. And we start to see a pattern emerging here as well. So we've got some examples here. There's Netflix, okay? There's Netflix running an advert there. There's no headline, vague copy, all these sorts of things. So even like massive, massive organizations are doing this wrong, okay? Does Netflix really care? Not really. They're a huge corporation. I think they turned over something like $4 billion last year. They've got money to burn. But unfortunately, companies like that make it all the harder for smaller companies to actually get their advertising right. I say recent, maybe 2 years ago, I did some research and development on advertising audiences on Facebook in the Middle East specifically. It turned out there's actually sort of like a microcosm of advertising going on in the region. It's getting better. It's getting much, much better. Facebook has updated its algorithm. It's gone on a bot hunt. It's killed off a load of fake profiles and things like that. But the Arab world has an obsession with followers and likes. Okay, anyone who works for an agency here, what do your clients ask you for on social media? New followers, yeah? New followers, likes. I want to go viral. Yeah, do you get that one a lot? Yeah. It's just crazy, right? It's utterly redundant. And unfortunately, what's happened, agencies have turned around and said, yeah, sure, no problem. We'll give you the likes, we'll give you the shares, we'll give you the followers, we'll give you all that sort of stuff. So what do? Go out and buy shares, likes, things like that. The issue with that is that it skews all of the data, okay? Because all of these fake followers and things like that, they like all these different bits and pieces. So when I was doing some research, I was looking for something to do with my weight loss client. And so I was looking at things like, weight loss, weight training, diets, keto diets, all these different kinds of things. And I'll show you how I did this a bit later. What I found is that things that were very, very niched down, very, very specific, for example, like Atkins diet, you were finding affinity scores that were relevant to stuff like MasterCard and IKEA, right, and Coca-Cola and Emirates. And those were all completely wrong. They weren't relevant to the audience that I built at all. So the UAE, the Middle East, has this sort of microcosm of really poorly designed adverts, which is actually reflecting on your ability to do business, okay? Because if you don't get this right, if you don't spend the 6 hours that you need to spend on building out your audience correctly in the right niche about the things that are really, really important to your audience, you're just going to end up with audiences like this that really don't do any help at all. So, this is my cheat sheet. This might look a little bit weird to you, but this is the sort of thing we look to use to build our audience. So you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 different subsections, okay? And I'll give you an example of this very shortly, okay? The way that we look at this, okay, 100, 600, okay, fine. I changed my data there a little bit. So let's say someone give me an audience or someone that they would try to target. Can anyone give me an example of one of their buyer personas, something like that? No? All right, I'll give you an example. Cat lovers, okay. So let's say that you have an online pet store that sells cat food, cat toys, cat products, okay? The way that I'd go about doing this is I would create an Excel sheet, and I would start by going association groups, and then I would find cat association. So you might have cat fancy association, things like that. And you list them all out, and then you're going to want to go to your Facebook advertising section where the audience are created, and you're going to want to insert each one of those and build that audience out. You want to label it your cat association, okay? You may even want to do laser targeting. Realistically, in this region, I wouldn't recommend it because the data is skewed and the audiences are so small. In places like the UK and the US, where you have hundreds of millions of people, it's a lot easier for you to do laser targeting. And what I mean by laser targeting is saying, for example, people who like this cat association, this cat association, this cat association, this cat association, but also like Sphinx cats. Okay, now that sounds a bit weird, but I'll give you a demonstration very shortly. Now that narrows it down. So everyone who likes either one of these options and must also like this particular breed of cat is a hyper-targeted individual. So you want to go through all of this field of study. It might be cat veterinary sciences. It might be cat behavioral sciences. And believe me, this stuff is out there. And I'll show you how I know this very shortly. You might want to look at types of niche. So breed of cat, for example. So people who like this particular breed type of cat. Are there any cat events? Are there any cat movies? Garfield, that's the only one that I can think of at the moment. Cat, TV shows, movies, fan pages. Anyone here know who Grumpy Cat is or was? Yeah, we all know the meme Grumpy Cat. Yeah, it was real name. Interesting fact. Grumpy Cat's real name was Tartar Sauce. There's Little Barb. There's all of these Instagram famous cats and things like that. Audiences built out just of those things. Make them hyper-targeted, make them hyper-relevant to your audience. Websites, are there websites? Are there job titles? Are there, online stores? What is it that you can find? And this is why your audience should be, taking you about 6 hours to create, because you need to go through all of this. You need to test, you need to test, you need to test. Are you getting correct-sized audiences? Is one of them massive? If so, is it really that relevant? If you find that there's a particular breed of cat, for example, a Bengal cat, right? You might find that 5 million people worldwide, in fact, I know that it's more than that, it's about 20 million people, like that cat, okay? Is that too big for your audience? Maybe, maybe not. If you localize that into the UAE or even Dubai, are you going to find 20 million people? No, of course you're not. So that might be one that's relevant for you to use. So you want to be splitting these down as far as you can go, really digging down websites, directories, celebrities, events, niches, job titles, all of these things. You also want to let Facebook do the hard work for you. So who here has actually run like Facebook adverts before? Hands up. So when you go in and you do the detailed targeting, you've got to type the thing in, right? There's that little button that says browse. You type one of those things in there, and then you let Facebook do the legwork for you. Is that relevant to it? Okay, so for example, in terms of cat breeds, you type in Bengal cat and then go browse, and then Facebook will come back with a load of options for you. Work smarter, not harder, people. Let Facebook do the legwork. It knows what you're looking for because of the huge volume of data points that it collects on all of us. Okay, so the reason I know this is because I myself am a cat lover. That is my cat, Echo, looking extremely pleased to be part of this picture. You can see on the left-hand side, there's a very brief audience that I've built, okay? So, cat lovers, breed, audience. What have I got there? Easier for me to look on here, sorry. So I've got Bengal cat, black cat, British Shorthair, Maine Coon, Persian, Scottish Fold, Siamese, Sphinx, okay? You can see as well that my audience is 290,000 people. This is in Dubai. There are 290,000 people that I could target right now and sell them cat-related products like that. Why? Because I did my research. I can get up to 4.2 thousand reach every single day. I can get up to 10 conversions on a budget of 30 dirhams a day. If it's costing 30 fills to get in that and reach these people, how much money do you think I'm making every single day from running an advert just for this one section? A lot of money, right? So the whole idea behind all of this is to be as targeted and as specific as you possibly can, right? There is absolutely no way I am going to be targeting someone who is not right for my audience. There is absolutely no way that I am not going to be speaking to someone who is interested in one of these things. If I had a cat t-shirt, right, and it said, "I love Bengal cats," I could put that up there. You know I'm reaching every single Bengal cat lover in Dubai. 100% of them. And one or two of them is going to spend money with me. If I sell a shirt for $10 and it's costing me $1 to reach them, I'm making $9 a t-shirt. Okay? If I'm doing that every single day just from one I Love Bengal Cat t-shirts, all of a sudden I'm making some pretty decent money. Now imagine that you're doing this on an industrial scale for your business. Imagine that you're reaching out to people who are passionate about what it is that you do. Not just people who live in Dubai. Not just someone that I think is relevant to my audience, but someone that you've researched, that you really understand their needs, their goals, their plans, their challenges, their timelines. Someone who is passionate about what it is that they do and why they do it. And then think about how easy it becomes to sell them something on Facebook. Okay? This is the reason why people get it so wrong, is because they don't do the legwork. This is the reason why so many agencies completely tank and drain your budget, because they don't do the legwork. I won't even bother running an Facebook ad campaign until I've got at least 10 audiences upwards of 250,000 to within 600 to 750,000 people, and I've set those up in my campaign budget optimizations. I'll then start looking at least 20 adverts per section, and then I will start to look at which ones are scaling up, which ones I'm cutting, which ones are converting for me. So, which leads us into the next section. If you go into your Facebook advertising dashboard, you will see there are 3 columns: brand awareness, engagement and conversions, or traffic and conversions. These are the ones realistically that you want to be looking at, and even then, not all of these are the ones that you want to use. Forget about brand awareness. Useless. It will spend your money. Also, FYI, and I would assume that by now we realize that we don't ever want to do this, don't ever press that boost button. That is Facebook's backhanded way of saying, thanks for giving me your money for me doing absolutely nothing. Do not ever press that boost button. Okay? It's the quickest way for you to throw your money away. You literally might as well just open up the window and chuck 1,000 dirhams out of it. I promise you, don't ever press the boost button. So there are lots of different traffic types. There are lots of different campaign types. The ones that I will use by and large are conversions and traffic. You can see the PPE there, you can see the lead ones, and you can see the video views. It depends upon your client's goals, objectives, needs, and challenges, and the strategy that you create with them as to whether or not all or some of these are relevant. If you're running advert campaigns for a client that is e-commerce, then you're probably going to be wanting to look at your conversions, all right? If you're looking at lead generation, you're probably going to want to do a combination of your traffic and your lead generation ones. By and large, these are the ones that you want to utilize. Your PPE, your post-page engagement adverts, are the next best thing for brand awareness. They will also drive traffic to the landing page or web page that you want. But again, you're going to get loads of engagement from those ones. You're going to get loads of comments. You're going to get loads of likes and loads of shares. So agency owners out there, if your client is absolutely adamant that they want likes, shares, and engagement, whack 100 dirhams a month on one of those PPE ones and be done with it, okay? That will satisfy their need and requirement for everything, vanity-like, as it were. So by and large, you're only ever going to need your conversions and your traffic. Why? Because it focuses on ROI. If somebody takes the action that we want them to take on a conversion advert, for example, as a lookalike audience from someone who's paid money for that I Love Bengal Cats t-shirt, we're much more likely to go out and get Facebook to do the legwork for us and find us someone who's also likely to pay money for either an I Love Bengals cat shirt or an I Love British Shorthairs cat shirt or a variant thereof. Campaign budget optimization. This has been probably the most revolutionary thing in digital advertising that has ever happened. Okay? Before, we had to do all of this manually. Now, Facebook allows us to simply create one campaign, use all of our different ad sets to run one advert. So imagine we have 11 of those different advertising sets, okay? And I want to see which one is going to sell my I Love Bengal Cats shirt the best. I create one CBO, one campaign budget optimization campaign. I whack 500 dirhams on it. You could set that for the entire budget. In fact, you probably would. Yeah, you want to set like 500 dirhams on it and run it for a week. Okay? Each one of those advert sets is going to have a picture of that T-shirt, possibly the same message. It might not, because we're going to talk about dynamic advert creation, which again is another revolution for us. It makes this even easier for us. Again, before we had to do this manually, now we can allow Facebook to optimize and select for us the best performing sections of each advert. And it will go out there, and it will automatically spend money on the advert set that is working the best for you. In a very short space of time, i.e. 24 hours, you'll be able to see which adverts are working for you, which ones aren't, which ones you can cut, which ones you can scale, and then which ones are actually making you money, right? So in a very, very short period of time, your adverts are running and you're making money, all because you've spent the time knowing who your audience is, developing the research, building those audience lists, and then putting them to the test. Dynamic creatives, again, I just spoke about this. So our dynamic creatives basically allow you to create up to 10 images within Facebook advertising platform. Facebook will then go and show variants of each one to each one of your audiences. So do you see how working smarter becomes highly beneficial when you let the platform do the legwork? If you allow Facebook to go out and optimize these adverts to the different audiences that you've created that you know are the right audience, that you know are highly targeted, then Facebook's going to find that right message mix for you, right? You only have to do it once, and then Facebook's going to go out and legwork for you. Once you set these up and you're running the adverts, it's super easy for you to really, really find out how successful your campaign will be. So in the context of my business is B2B and I don't have any of my audience on Facebook, well, firstly, you're wrong. Secondly, you weren't targeting them correctly. And thirdly, well, now we're going to let Facebook go out and actually do the legwork for us to find those people and deliver the right message to them. We don't have to worry about testing, changing, testing, changing, testing, changing. Facebook's going to do it all for us. So placements is another one. There's been a lot of debate about placements. There's been a lot of heated arguments online amongst advertising gurus and people who have actually done the hard testing and things like that in regards to where should you be placing your adverts. Who here thinks they know where the best placement is? No? Don't have any suggestions? No? Okay. The best placement is simply to let Facebook do the legwork. Put them all in. Read the data. When you're running campaign budget optimization and dynamic adverts, you want to use all the channels available to you because Facebook's going to do what? It's going to optimize for your best performing channels. Don't take a gamble. Let Facebook do the legwork. It's all about working smarter, not harder. In previous editions of placements, people were like, you should only use the right-hand side for remarketing. You should never use the audience network. Don't bother with in-stream videos, yada, yada, yada. Why bother trying to work it out? Let Facebook do it and read the data. If the data is telling you that this channel is working best for you, Facebook will pump the money in. It's as simple as that. So initially, you want to start with all placements. You can edit them later on. We don't have time for a super deep dive in how to optimize each one of your high-performing adverts, but there are options for us to be able to create separate adverts for single channels, campaign budget optimization, plus dynamic adverts to really, really optimize these things. So you niche down, niche down, niche down, niche down, niche down, and then hammer the budget so that it enables you to make conversions at 10 times, 15 times, 20 times ROAS, return on ad spend. So initially, again, just keep using them. So metrics and reporting. The problem that you'll find with platforms like Google Analytics, Google AdWords, and Facebook ads is that there is so much data available to you. Again, between 98 and 52,000 data points Facebook has on you. 3 petabytes every 3 seconds of data going through the Facebook servers in its warehouse. There is just unfathomable amounts of data coming through all of these systems. And the biggest thing that a lot of people have a challenge with is understanding which is the right stuff to be looking at. You want to be looking realistically at 3 things. CPC, cost per click. As you can see here, this is some of the campaigns, some of my campaigns. You can see that I've got a cost per click of 0.05, 0.13, 0.12, which is averaging out at 0.20. I'd like that to be 0.10, but that's pretty decent data. Your cost per link click is one of the things you want to be looking at. That's the average of 13,000. I don't know why I'm looking at that. Sorry, I've got to clear up on here. You've got an average of 13,000 impressions. Again, above average engagement rate, above average conversion rating as well. On the top one there, you've got 265,000 impressions, and it's costing me 0.05 fills per click on each one of these. Why? Because I know who I'm talking to. I know what message I'm delivering. I'm letting Facebook do the hard work for me. Your CTR link click-through. Okay, so we want to be looking at CPC, CTR link click-through. All right? If you are above 1%, you are killing it. As you can see, my CTR link click-throughs are 4.19%, 5.20%, and 3.10%. Way more than killing it. I have exterminated whatever this animal was. There is nothing left of it. Why? Because I've got my targeting right, because my messaging is right, because I'm allowing Facebook to do the legwork for me. Anything above 0.5% spend, 0.5 per cent, as in dollars and cents, spend will be good. Anything above 1% is good. Anything below 1%, you want to see whether or not the next option is part of, you want 2 out of 3. So your CPC, your CPM, and your CTR link click-through. Your CPM, what are you paying to reach 1,000 people? The lower the CPM, the better. It will, when you initially run this, it will be all over the place for a few days because Facebook is, putting all the data together. So don't worry after, the first, 24 hours if it's something like, $30 to reach 1,000 people. It just hasn't collected enough data yet. But you can see there again, it's costing me 2 fills, just 7 fills, dirhams, and just under 4 dirhams there as well to reach those people. So for every 1,000 people to reach, it's costing me 2 dirhams, 7 dirhams, and 4 dirhams, okay? So anything below like $10 is really, really amazing. But I'm able to get these kind of results because I did all my research beforehand. Scaling and automation. This is something that 99.99% of people don't do. Automation and scaling, again, so not only have you done all the hard work by finding out who your audience is, you are looking at getting Facebook to do all the hard, the legwork for you and finding all these people. There are actually a section within the adverts tool called rules. If you go into those rules, you will have a plethora of options, okay? We don't have time to go into all of the rules, but I can give you an indication of what they're capable of doing, all right? Let's say that you have done your research on your buyer personas, you have gotten all of your super targeted niche audiences, you are selling your I Love Bengals cat t-shirt, and you are running these adverts. You're getting a super low CPM, you're getting a super high CTR, and you are getting a really great CPC as well. You will want Facebook to automate the scale of that. Okay, and what do I mean by that? What I mean is, if you start to see certain results appearing, i.e. CTR link click above 5%, I want to increase that budget by, let's say, 20%. So not only are you getting Facebook to find you more people who are more likely to convert for you, but you're also telling Facebook where to redirect that money to make you more conversions, to make you more money. This is an art in itself, and as I say, it will take you many, many attempts to get it all right. If you find that your adverts are not performing the way that you want them to perform, you can cut them. If you want them to, if they are performing the way you want them to perform, you can scale them up. You can even get Facebook to successfully duplicate and then rerun adverts that are highly performing to different sections of your niche audiences. Okay, these things are so powerful, it's unbelievable. It's kind of like programmatic, but on steroids. So I would advise you to start looking at how to automate all of these rules, because again, once you've got it on, it will take care of itself, right? We're working smarter, not harder. So I'm going to take some questions now. Hopefully, you should have had a crash course into the deep dive of effectiveness, of effectively utilizing all of the Facebook tools. Again, I can't give you the super in-depth knowledge that I'd like, because there is just too much. But what I have given you is the pathway and the route map to successfully being able to work this out, either for your clients or for your business yourself. So I will ask the floor if they have any questions. Does anyone have any questions about anything they've seen or anything in Facebook in general? Yes, sir?
Hello. Hi. Well, thank you for the talk. There's this debate regarding the placement. A lot of people say that you should split them by, different campaigns for different placements. So feed layout and then stories by separate campaigns. Is that something you support, or do you think we should just run everything in one go into one campaign?
No, much like all of your business growth and strategy, you need to roll this out in stages. At the very first level, the top level of running all of these things, right? You know how to set it all up, you know how to create your audiences.
Yeah.
Run all placements together.
Okay.
Once you then start to get your data back, then you can start breaking it down and seeing which sections perform best. Okay. Then you can start looking at whether or not your remarketing audiences really are working best for you in the right-hand column, or you want to start running them through Instagram stories, or you want to start running them elsewhere. So again, look at the data. Because even though you can run outbound campaigns like that really, really well, you can actually reduce the amount of money you're spending and increase the ROAS that you get even further by using known data, and that known data is from the remarketing. Okay. So yeah, look, stage one, use all the placements. Stage two, start breaking it down, start running separate campaigns, and keep creating this pattern of adverts as you go through. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else?
Thanks, sir. I've been playing cricket, so I can properly hold this catch every time. Okay. Sir, very informative. I must appreciate it. This has been very informative sort of a session for Facebook sponsorship as such. My one observation, and I request you to qualify it or not, and one question, sir. Once, whenever we gather audience through Facebook campaigns, and obviously using all that is not possible up till now, but you have informed us very rightly, we can do it for that. But using few of things like region, like business interests, like all that. If we make a proper campaign, what I found, we gathered some audience. That is the basic aim of that. But if for the same product I don't campaign it, the organic reach decreases every time.
Sure.
It is my observation. I may be completely wrong in that, but I need you to throw some light on it.
Okay, Facebook is a pay-to-play platform. And what we mean by that is that Facebook has outrightly stated that your organic reach on any post or interaction, unless you have millions and millions of fans and followers, is going to be capped at 1 to 2%. So if you're not spending money, then your organic reach is definitely going to drop. So you're absolutely correct in your observation, but just to shed some light on that, it's Facebook saying, you want to use our platform, then you have to play by our rules.
So that means if I've gathered some audience and I'm not paying to get to that audience again, I'll not be reaching that audience.
No.
Okay, so that's fine. Next here is the question, FB campaigns, what I feel they are demographically restricted in terms of gathering audience. If it is yes, then what's the business solution for that?
So you're asking whether or not...
Maybe I'm selling a shoe there in America, but I'm getting very less audience if I'm campaigning it in America. But the same shoe I campaign in South Asia somewhere,
Okay.
I get the better audience. So it is a demographic restriction by Facebook. If yes, then what's the business solution to that?
I mean, to some degree, yeah, it is sort of demographically restricted, but you've got to realise that there's different markets that you're trying to go into, right? The audience that you used for the US, for example, might not be as relevant as the one that you're using in Asia. And again, Asia is a very big place. Are we talking about Thailand, Cambodia, Laos? Are we talking about India, Pakistan, Bangladesh? So all of these things come into play. So you just have to follow the process going through each one of the stages, testing. There is a process to this. The only thing I can suggest in that is to use your tools that you have available to you, try, test, see which demographic works best, and then try and replicate that one out.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for the insights into Facebook. One of the things you brought up at the beginning was that the Netflix advert had quite weak copy, but this is something that I've observed generally with the Facebook ads in this part of the world, that the copy is not great. So are there any resources or is there a direction that you could advise where we can start learning how to make better copy?
How long have you got? Yes, absolutely. Copywriting in itself is an art form. There are tools available for you to find the best performing adverts within your industry and market. Ad Espresso is one of those tools that allows you to see your competitors' adverts, and not only that, the best performing ones broken down into insights such as reach, engagement, conversions, yada, yada, yada. Facebook Ad Library is also a very powerful tool. You can spy on everybody's adverts, okay? So there's no hiding anymore. You can see your competitors' adverts, you can see when they've run them, what they're running them for, you can see their ad copy, everything. Facebook has democratized the entire advertising process. Other than that, I would encourage you to go out and, look at companies like PPC Hero, WordStream. They often have loads of great resources, ideas on how you can write better converting ad copy. At the end of the day, it comes down to knowing what your audience is interested in. If you've got the time and want to invest in a course, there is one from Chris Rochelot called Code of Conversions, and that teaches you how to write super high converting Facebook advertising copy. And it's just completely different to, all the other styles of adverts that you will find, but it really, really works. I use it with a lot of my clients as well. I think we might have time for one more, and then I have to hand over. Is there anyone else with any questions?
On the website.
Sorry, do you want to?
Lead generation.
Okay.
Is it more effective on Facebook or driving the prospects to the website's lead form?
So you're asking
maybe it's it's about testing, but
well, so like the lead ads that you run on Facebook versus driving traffic to a conversion page. There's a lot of data out on, the jury is quite out on this. At the end of the day, Facebook is always going to lower the cost of your conversion and try and perform better using its own platform than it is by asking you to send people away from its own platform. Having said that, if you've got a really killer landing page and highly converting landing page, then you may find that your lead generation efforts will be better taking people away. It depends upon the funnel, it depends upon what business model you're running. Facebook will always try and give its own platform cheaper conversion rate, but test, right? Okay, so I think that is me done. If you have any other questions about Facebook advertising or anything else that I've spoken about today, I'm happy to go into much greater detail with you in the next networking session. So, I would like to thank you all for your patience. I really hope that you learned something interesting there. When I first started doing all of this, I was absolutely blown away just by the sheer, sense and logic that all of this makes, and also at my own stupidity for not thinking about it sooner. So, I hope you all enjoyed that. Like I say, if you want to come and have a chat with me afterwards, then you are more than welcome. So, I'm now going to move on to Vit Kodusek from Square Motion, and he's going to be talking about video marketing. So please join me in giving a warm hand to the stage.